Hi, y'all, and welcome to the Rookie Adult Podcast, where I unpack all the chaos of my young adult life as a Catholic college student. I'm your host, Kylie, and today we'll be talking about young motherhood and finding your spouse after college. And we have another fun guest on the show. So whether you're a seasoned adult or a rookie like me, thank you for joining and welcome to the show. Now, our guest is a special one, born a military brat in Oklahoma, and went to St. Vincent Latrobe in Pennsylvania, played lacrosse there, has a master's in education, and is now a mother and a DRE at her local parish. Hailing from the great state of Maryland, please welcome Carrie, my sister.
Thank you. Thank you. That was quite an intro.
Thank you. I literally prayed before.
When in doubt, pray.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
You moved into your new house.
Very exciting.
All unpacked?
Nope. Nope. I just keep moving boxes around the house,
Mm-hmm.
But we have our kitchen in place. We have the playroom in place.
Yes.
And we have the living room in place. So, one part of the house. And the bedrooms, of course.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, there's boxes in there, but there's beds, so there's places to sleep.
Kids.
And that was kind of our priority. And we're slowly making it through the rest of the boxes. You don't realize how much stuff you have until you move.
Yeah, I understand that.
Until you move.
Yeah.
No, but it's going good, and the kids enjoyed the move. And
I was gonna say, I feel like the girls are enjoying it. We just went to dinner over your house recently.
Yes. Yeah.
And so very nice house. I think one you can grow into.
Yes, that was
be there for a little while.
Yep, that's what we were hoping. There's the bedrooms, but believe it or not, finding a flat lot. Because one of our requirements was a playset. We got a playset before we moved, didn't build it, and then we're like, well, now we have to find a place that we can put a playset. So, believe it or not, that was one of the tougher check marks to get. But no, it's good, and the kids really do enjoy being outside, and it's its own little oasis. And
that's for sure.
It's quiet. And the girls got to pick their color room.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun too.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for coming on the show. I thought you would be good because you're a young mother and young in marriage, 5 years. You just celebrated with Mike. And so I think you would have maybe some good tips and advice because you were kind of just through college recently and then dating after college and stuff like that. So I just kind of wanted to first ask you about motherhood. And I think it's cool because I kind of watched you. It's funny to see your sister become a mom because we've grown up together, and I feel like your dream was to become a mom, and so once you actually are fulfilling that, I feel like it's really beautiful to watch. And fun too. And funny. You become a different person when you become a mom. So I was just wondering how is that becoming a mom to just one child? Your first girl. What was that kind of like?
It was a lot of fun. Like you said, it was my dream to become a mom, and so when that finally happened, it was like, for a while, just like, whoa, this is my baby. This is, you know what I mean? And I'm completely responsible for her at this point, kind of thing. It's a little bit of pressure of like, all right, I guess now we need to know what we're doing, or at least try to know what we're doing, kind of thing. But no, it was great. It was at a C-section.
Okay.
And so, when she came out, it was like one of the most beautiful moments, and we didn't figure out the gender beforehand.
Yes.
Which is a lot of fun because there's, the doctor in the room actually has the husband, had Mike announce it. So, he grabbed the baby out and raised the baby up, and then Mike was like, it's a girl kind of thing. And that's just such a cool moment. Because you've been waiting, and boy or girl, it's an exciting time. But, so it's been a whole learning curve then, adding more children.
I was going to say, now you just welcomed your fourth, a baby boy. Super exciting. Congrats.
Yes, thank you.
And because I've heard different transitions from single or just the couple to one child. But then one child to two or more. What would you say, the transition?
So I think there's definitely transition growing periods between each of the kids. But I think it's different in, the first one, because I laugh about certain things now that I was, worried about with one kid. And going from just Mike and I,
Mhm.
to one child, it's been like, okay, like, it's not our schedule anymore.
Mm.
Baby's going to set the schedule for us. And
Yeah.
that's still
Yes.
a learning
Yeah.
process for me, to be honest. You know, it's just one of those things that's like, okay, take a step back.
Mhm.
It's baby schedule.
Mhm.
So then going from 1 to 2, I would say part of it is the guilt of, and having another kid is a beautiful thing, but all, you know, you had that one child that had all the attention, and now there's times when, you know, my oldest girl, she might be crying for something, she needs me, you know,
Mhm.
I know she's okay, but she just
Yeah.
wants those cuddles, and I can't give them to her right then and there.
Yeah.
And so it's that a little bit of the guilt of like adding, but now when you see them playing together, because they're now a little bit older, like
Mhm.
you're like,
Yes.
okay, I know you were mad at me because I couldn't pick you up earlier
Yeah.
because I had your sister, but
Yeah.
look at you guys now. You
Mhm.
love each other, you're best
Mhm.
friends, kind of thing. So, and then from 2 to 3, at that point, everyone says you're outnumbered, you know,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. And so that's like, okay, now we have to spend a lot more time with, like, Mike laughs at me, but I am constantly thinking of the logistics, even of like small things, like when we're running errands. Okay, I need to make sure we
Yep.
have these things packed.
Mhm.
This is the best time to leave, you know.
Yep.
Trying to just think, okay, it would be good if we had, let's do this errand first before we do this errand, because I know this is gonna, you know, all this
Yeah.
stuff. So logistically, it's a little bit more thinking.
Mhm.
And then 3 to 4, I feel like I said to Mike the other day, I told him, I said, I feel like we're finally, when people look at us, we're finally like in the big family category, you know, like we were walking through the parking lot at church and just making sure we have enough hands to, you know, hold all of them through the parking lot. You know, it's just like, all right, I think we're now in that big family category. And so not as much has, I would say not as much has changed, because now the older ones kind of help out.
Yes.
And they're all obsessed with their little brother. Having 3 girls and then having the little boy, they're all obsessed. But I would say that's kind of it's like, okay, now we're a big family and we're starting to draw attention, you know, sitting in the pew at church, like everyone knows when our family is there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But no, it's all
good.
it's all good. It's all very exciting, very great. And just
It'll
a good time.
It'll be funny to watch, because you're right. Your older girls are at that age where like they're being more independent with their playtime and things like that. I think it'll be really fun when your youngest, the little boy, actually now like will start to crawl. Like he'll then start to get into the playtime and be more active. And I think maybe it's daunting to have 3 older sisters. I don't know. We don't know what that's like. So that'll be interesting to watch. No, because
the first 2, they're kind of in the stage where they play with each other now, for the most part. I mean, they do not get along all the time, of course, but, and then my 3rd girl, she kind of does her own thing. She's in the stage where she's like, no, I'm going to go over, you guys are doing that thing, I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to play with my music book or whatever kind of thing. And then, so it'll be interesting now when our little boy becomes more mobile, what he's he's taking it all in now. Like, I'm telling you, he sleeps better when there's noise going on. When it's quiet, he's like, I don't understand.
It's funny you mentioned it's now the baby schedule, you know, and I think obviously parents sacrifice a lot. It's pretty much a vocation of sacrifice. But I always grew up thinking you were pretty sacrificial in your love, you know, mission trips, even like abroad to people you didn't know, but even within your family, and then teaching, that's very sacrificial as well, a job. So did you feel prepared in that sacrifice, like to give of yourself in that sacrifice, or was that even a learning curve? Because I think some people are more disposed to sacrifice of themselves than others, depending on their home life or just how they grew up, or just their personalities. So I was just curious. I would say you were probably ready to sacrifice yourself and give of yourself, but I don't know if you felt differently being the one doing it.
I would say that most of the time I try to be, not to toot my own, like try to be pretty selfless. And, doing those mission trips and things like that definitely prepared me for just realizing that it's not about me and it's all about the people around me, and that's what brings me real joy. Not to say there aren't times when, you know, certain time of the day and it's like, oh my goodness, like I just want to be able to like eat this peanut butter and jelly sandwich kind of thing, you know, whatever it might be. But no, I would say certainly the selflessness and sacrificial, like that definitely comes into play. And having feel like I've had that for a while. And so
Yeah.
that hasn't been really a huge
Yeah.
leap for me
Mhm.
as a mom, because it's definitely something that is key.
Yeah.
I mean, your life changes in a beautiful, amazing,
Mhm.
wonderful way, but it is that adjustment of, you know, this baby needs me,
Mhm.
and all of my needs are going to come behind him or her at this point in time. I mean, it's important to take care of yourself, obviously,
Yeah.
because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of.
Yes.
But
Yes.
when it comes to just day-to-day kind of things, it's, you know, making sure that the needs of the children are taken care of, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. And I guess I just wanted to ask you also, you know, tell our viewers kind of how you met Mike. I think it's really actually a cute story of a lot of courage, frankly, on Mike's part. Because I also want to ask you, you know, finding a spouse after college. I'm entering my last year of college, and I go to a great Catholic university that's known for like ring by spring, you know, your MRS degree type thing. But I have not found that degree yet, and that's okay. But a lot of other great women haven't either. You know, they're going to graduate and not have met their spouse, you know, and it's hard for people who have been praying for their spouse, you know, this whole time.
Yep.
So maybe if you wanted to just tell your story, because it's a success story of after college relationship, and then I'll ask you just some questions also about college dating and how to go about that.
Sure. Yeah, so I was probably like most women that you know in college. It was one of those that I'm going to meet my spouse in college. And the MRS degree, that was a new term that I, like, I was planning on that anyways in college, but then someone had mentioned it like, oh, you're going for the MRS degree. Kind of thing. I was like, oh, yeah. And so it's one of those things where it's like, that's what you're hoping for, but, you know, and it's easier to say now that I'm on the other side, of course. And I realize that when I'm saying this, but there's timing and there's God's plan for everything. That, you know, during college, you have friends and it's, I think it's almost like a bubble. I mean, you know what I mean? It's almost like a bubble where your food is there for you, your friends are maybe right next door kind of thing, and all that stuff, that you just are living in like a great situation, you know? And so, of course, you're thinking, hey, I'm also going to meet my spouse here. And I didn't, you know, and that was okay. Because then I decided it didn't work out. I was in a relationship in college and it didn't work out. And so I decided, you know what, I need to stop trying to think about that as much. And I need to just focus on me and what I need to do. And the timing will happen when it's supposed to happen, you know, and, you know, so I had gone, because in college, like you said, I always wanted to be a mom. So in college, it was not like, I'm going to go with this, you know, this degree, and I had it all lined up. I picked initially, actually, I started as a bio major. Not because I wanted to go to med school, but I started biology because I love science. I really enjoyed science, so it's like, I'm going to be a bio major because I want to enjoy the classes that I take, and we'll see where it goes. Well, I did enjoy the bio courses that first semester, but all of my friends that were in my classes and stuff, they were talking about what med school they were, you know, thinking about, and I was like, I don't want to go to med school, so let's think about something else. And so then I was like, I really liked psychology in high school, so then I was like, I'm gonna become a psychology major. So became a psychology, sociology double major. And because I had came into college with some credits from high school. So psychology and sociology, which is very interesting and has definitely helped me with, you know, my career as a teacher. Definitely the psychology major even has helped
home life.
Also, you know, we joke about that. But yes, like a psychology major and just the way people think, it's interesting. And then I had some extra time towards the end and I didn't want to graduate early. So I was like, I want to stick around for the 4 years. I didn't want to miss out on anything. And so then I stuck in a little theology minor, which again was interesting. Great professors that the classes were all, it wasn't a burden. It was something that I enjoyed. So anyway, so with doing all those classes and courses and stuff. So then of course I graduated and I'm like, well, I don't really want to teach psychology. Like I did these things that I enjoyed. So now what am I going to do? So I went into a teaching program where I taught at a Catholic school for 2 years, but went to classes at night. met some great friends there. Also, again, and still did not meet my husband now.
Yeah.
And so then that was another 2 years, and I'm like, goodness, so then it was one of those, like, I need to just start praying. And that's something that I forget to do sometimes because I like to be in control and in charge, and that's something that I just, that's just the way I function. And I was like, I just need to start praying to God that when the time's right, the right person is going to come into my life. And I pray that I also know when that person is coming into my life, right? So I did the 2 years, and then I decided you guys were actually moving back to the area, and I wanted to move back to the area too, closer to family. So then I started teaching in a public school in the area, and that's where I met my husband. He does HVAC, and he was working in the school that I was at, and it was one of those things that I actually just heard the story of when he first saw me, which I didn't know, but I guess I was walking, he was in the building doing stuff, and he saw me walking with my class up to lunch, and he asked this other guy who worked at the school and said, who's that? And then that's where it started, and I think that guy really helped, helped. We call him kind of the matchmaker. He really kind of helped move things along and gave, Mike enough courage to, one day he walked in right before Christmas break, and he just said hi, and we exchanged numbers, and then
that was it.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty incredible. I mean, like, one, it was just an ordinary day, and he saw you. I mean, it's a really sweet story because you weren't expecting it. He probably wasn't expecting it. It's not like you were going out somewhere to meet people.
Right.
You were just going about your job.
It was right before Christmas break, too.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things, and actually, like, a month or two before I was supposed to have something with someone, meet up with someone, and it fell through, and I was really kind of disappointed, but now it's like, nope, that was supposed to fall through. I didn't see it then, but that was supposed to fall through, because if it didn't, then I might not have said yes to Mike when he walked into my room, and so we went out on our first date, and we laughed about it because we spent the entire day together. We met for breakfast, then we spent the entire day, we drove around, talked, ended with some good Mexican food, and it was one of those that's like, wow, if the first date I can spend a whole day, then it's got to be something good, right?
Yeah, that's true. Do you find, so Mike had a lot of courage in just kind of not knowing your own situation, whether you're single or taken, and coming to ask you out. I find that, I don't know if it's in our climate of just like my generation, or it's at college in this awkward stage of, men maybe not having the courage to take the first step, to be the initiators. And I don't know if that's just with my university, it's a bubble, like you said. And so I don't know if it's a thing that just happens in college. Did you experience where men weren't super, or is that something that's coming about more in my generation, do you think, of like the whole courage thing of men taking the lead?
I don't know. I think things have definitely changed because I know you said I was in college not too long ago, but I graduated with my undergrad 12 years ago at this point. So it was longer than you think. But I appreciate it. So I think a lot has changed, and I've actually had this discussion. I mean, I think it's a lot tougher, the whole dating, and I think it's tougher on the men and the women involved. I think social media is a huge piece of that. I feel like there's so much pressure behind it, because then it's like, I think men might be a little discouraged or not feel as confident because there's constantly people in each other's business and, what's going on with this person, and seeing, oh, this person's with this person now. And there's just so much extra pressure that you guys are exposed to, I think, with social media, that I think it sometimes gets in men and women's heads. Like, it's got to be discouraging if you're single right now, I would think, to scroll through and be like, oh, so-and-so has a boyfriend, so-and-so has a boyfriend. I mean, but social media was just starting to kind of become popular when I was in college, and I did the same thing, and, had those thoughts. probably not very nice, but like those thoughts of like, well, how did she find someone? Or was she, kind of thing. And it was all about having that patience and realizing, okay, but I have a beautiful life now, and just waiting for that time and the right person. But no, I think I feel like social media just puts a lot of pressure and just gets in men and women's heads as far as like so many other aspects. And so I think that probably makes it harder for the guys to step up. Yeah. Just because, there's all these other things going on and they're paying attention. There's all these other pressures and stressors that going, that's, I
think, social media is not really reality. So it's just usually the best of what people want to show, a public face. But I would love if my nieces and nephews and like grew up in a world that wasn't social media. Because I think it was coming about, right. So when I was young, probably 10-ish, a little less than 10, when it was still coming about, and I even, at the time, had an iPod, and I remember getting Snapchat to stay in touch with all of my siblings. Yeah. Because y'all were much older and in college, and then out of college, and I knew mom and dad wanted me to stay in touch with y'all. And I think that's really great, but I've grown now, fast forward over a decade, and seeing also a lot of the harm that it can do, and realizing, like, for my kids, I would not give them phones until high school, if that. I don't want that. I don't want that temptation. I also don't want that. Social media is not necessary, I feel like, for true fellowship, true community. There's good to it. Yeah. But I think, especially with connection between people and dating it.
Well, I think it adds more pressure, too, because I think back when I did social media, I think that you hope, like, you might post a picture, right? Yeah. And then most people are probably excited when it gets liked or loved or, all those things. And if it doesn't, or if it doesn't get as many, like, there's so many other things that you have to think about. It's like, well, I posted this picture of me with this outfit or doing this, and I didn't get as many likes here than when I posted a picture of doing this, or that I was, and that has got to be hard to have to worry about or try to figure that out and think through all of that. Mike and I have decided, neither of us are on social media anymore. Not that we have time. To scroll through, but we're not on social media anymore because it's not reality for us, and we'd rather spend that time either with the kids or at the end of the night when they're in bed, and we want to spend time with each other, because when you have when you were starting to realize when you have 4 little ones, there's not much time for actual communication during the day, and so it's important to have that catch up time in the evening. So
no, that's totally true. I guess you mentioned now catch up time with Mike at the end of the night. You're 5 years in, like I mentioned, into marriage, and I was just curious, what was that transition like? Actually, when did you know maybe that Mike was the one? And what, I guess, advice do you have for young women, or even all kinds of, like, ages? What do you want to see in a man that's, like, a green flag? Like, okay, this is good. And what were some of the green flags, that you saw in Mike then?
Well, so it's interesting because, yes, we've been married 5 years. And we have 4 kids. And we have actually lived in 3 different houses. So if you want to really test a marriage, Mike and I talk about that, but like if you really want to test a marriage, like move a couple times, throw in some home improvement projects, maybe do a couple flooring projects.
Some showers.
Maybe retile some showers if you really want to test how strong your marriage is. Because it definitely puts some strain with, and Mike and I joke, like, there are times when we just do not communicate. It's probably a male-female thing, but him and I sometimes just do not communicate the way we think we're communicating, or I say one thing and he understands a different thing, or he says something and I'm like, I understand it this way, So
a ceramic bowl versus a glass bowl. Like we were just
I think, it was sitting on the counter, and I think it's glass. I know, because I just was like, it's breakable. It's glass bowl, but it's not ceramic bowl. Miscommunication. Get it. Next time I know, I'll be more specific with the build material of my bowls. But so I think, the transition, so we had dated, so we met right before Christmas break of 2017. 2018, the very beginning is when we, I don't know what they call it now, but became officially boyfriend, girlfriend, exclusive, and we dated for almost 2 years and then got engaged in All Saints Day. And then we got married the following, so in November we got engaged. That following July is when we got married in 2020. So that was a whole nother thing. But the transition, I would say we kind of took ours on like hyper speed because I feel like we had that ability. We knew we wanted to find a spouse. Neither of us were into just dating just because. I don't know, because I know we've talked about this. I don't know the exact moment that I was like, this is the one. I think you have little moments where you're like, I could see this working, or it would be a beautiful like father to children, and you have those conversations and stuff. But I don't remember an exact moment was like, all right, this is the person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And maybe some people have that. But I think for me, it was more just little moments that it was like, I love him, and I want to spend the rest of my life with him. But it wasn't like an aha moment, like, all right, this is it kind of thing. And so, so we had gotten married, and then, but as far as, because then, we had our first soon after, a little bit more than 9 months after we had gotten married. And so then we transitioned from being husband and wife to now adding, now we're mom and dad to someone, so there's been a lot of growing for us. And we've had to really, I really can only say that putting God at the center of all of it has helped us grow in a beautiful way, because it's very easy to get overwhelmed, especially, we had some time as husband and wife, but not as much as some people have. And maybe, and then throwing into the mix, now we're working together to raise this human being, and so just lots of things to learn for sure. And so bringing it always back to God, our parents have said, you need to, the times, because we actually just have to have a conversation, the times when you feel like you're a little bit off, like you need to pray together. And I'm like, those are not the times that I want to, but it does help. It really does, because at that point it brings you back to, this is where I'm supposed to be. I love my husband, even though we disagreeing right now, whether it's a glass or ceramic bowl, all those different things. And so I think advice as far as what to look in a person, we've talked, or your spouse, especially, I can tell you what I look in a husband, you're just a good heart. Mike has just like the kindest go with the flow heart, which works with me in that, I'm a little bit more high strung and kind of thing. And he's just so laid back. And, sometimes he's very good at just reeling me back or talking me off the ledge a little bit but sometimes it's like, no, I need you. I want you to be worked up.
I want you
right?
up this energy.
I want you. I'm up here and you're just like, Carrie, it's okay. It doesn't matter kind of thing. So someone that compliments you, I don't think you have to be exact compliments. I would say there's things that might need adjustment, of course, when you marry someone. But if you love them, then you want to make those adjustments too. Right? Like if you aren't willing to kind of grow with them, then maybe it's not the right fit. We've had the conversation too, as far as Catholic versus non-Catholic. Catholic faith is something that's very important to me. Raised Catholic, but then really when I did some of my service trips abroad is really when I feel like I grew big time in my faith. And so Catholicism I wasn't going to ever change my faith, and I'm not going to change my faith. And so I had to go back and forth and decide, do I put that as a requirement, for my future spouse, or do I leave it to God? Because everyone's on their own faith journey, right? So do I put that automatically, like, oh, well, if they're not Catholic? And so I didn't put that down, and look where it got us, right? So, and after I had met Mike, so I was praying for my future spouse. After I had met him, I then prayed for him, and I prayed that, one day that he may become Catholic, because it is the fullest, truest faith, and I wanted that for him. And instead of us constantly having conversations and like me pressuring him, like, well, I really want you to convert. Like, if we're going to get married, I wasn't going to do any of that because I needed it to happen in his timing. Because if I wanted him to stay Catholic and grow in his faith, it had to be on his terms.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time praying. So that's something that I would say for people looking for their spouse. You may not want to be as strict. It's up to you, you know, as far as like, well, they have to be Catholic or they have to be my faith because now
it's all part of a grander plan.
Exactly. And you know, I would have missed out on my husband and the father of my children if I had said like, you're not Catholic, it's not going to work out for us. And so after we had our first, he then on his own terms, you know, he'd go to church with us and he was willing. And then he, on his own terms, he said, I want to, you know, go into the RCIA class. And then he came in the Easter Vigil of the following year. And it was just one of those things that it was so beautiful. And the fact that he chose to do that, you know, and I would say there are times for sure in our marriage now that he, even though he's only a few years into his faith, like he's stronger in some aspects of his faith than I am. Or the times when I'm doubting my faith or what, you know, he's grounded. So that's definitely a tip that I would say is not be so strict as far as the checklist of like, they have to do this or they have to, you know, kind of thing. I mean, you want someone that's going to support you and love you and, I don't know. I
think, no, that's good. And I know with Mike, like he is, whether it's on summer vacations we take together, like he always has questions, you know, for Dad as, you know, a deacon, like he always has questions that I almost took for granted the answers, you know, or I almost like didn't really think about because I was just like, that's my faith. I'm not going to challenge it. Right. But Mike always, and I think that's probably just with the conversion and being, you know, reignited with the faith or ignited with the Catholic faith to like ask questions that I wouldn't have thought of.
Right. And we've had those conversations where he'll ask a question and I'll be like, why? Like he'll ask something and I'm like, you know, I don't know. Yeah. Like we've been doing it in Mass this entire time and I've done it for, you know, 30 some years, but I don't know. I've never really thought about it that way. And I think that's one of the things that we're cradle Catholics versus converts. Sometimes converts have a better understanding because I definitely take certain things for granted being raised in the Catholic faith. And I mean, I joke because, you know, he wasn't Catholic. He grew up going to church and then he fell away for a little while when he got older. And, but we laughed because the first time that he met our dad, whether my dad did it on purpose, I don't know.
I wouldn't put it past him.
But we were standing outside and our dad had, you know, just gotten home from church probably. And he walked towards us with his clerics and in my head, I'm like, oh boy, he has his collar on. I was like, if this is gonna, this we'll see what happens here kind of thing. And, you know, and I talked to Mike too, because he said, you know, when I first walked in your house, because we have a lot of religious artwork around the house. And I think originally, and he even said, he's like, I kind of thought like originally, like, what am I getting myself into? Like, there's a picture of this over here, a picture of that, like, you know, but he stuck with it. And, and really the true test was he would go when we dated, he started by just dropping me off at church and then he'd come back and pick me up. And then he started coming into church with me. And one of the first times he came to church with me, we were sitting there and the deacon walked past and he handed us a book. And it was about, and I don't know the exact, I think it was like the 7 Secrets to Marriage. And we had just newly kind of started dating. And this was his first time in the church. And he gets handed a book about marriage. And I was like, I am so sorry. Oh my gosh. Like, you know, but again, it worked out.
It all worked out.
It all worked out.
That's funny. That's funny. So you got married in 2020. And I remember that was, because we were planning it obviously before everything broke out. Your wedding was in July. March was obviously when everything kind of became chaos. What was that? Because I know you had to make hard decisions about whether to keep your wedding in 2020 or not. And I know a lot of people were either doing virtual or just postponing it a year or 2 years. You know, but you look back at that now and things were still kind of chaos, you know, a year or two later. What was your thought process?
Also, we, after getting engaged, it was like, okay, now we have to find a venue. We have to start doing these different steps. And we found a beautiful venue, and we really liked it.
Mhm.
And we had it booked. We had the deposit. We had our dates, all that stuff. And then, like you said, in March, things started going crazy.
Mhm.
And we got a call and was like, all right, we can't do it right now. We have to shut down the venue.
Mhm.
And of course you're disappointed. And then you get the call a little bit later and they're like, okay, well, we're allowed to open, but
Right.
because we have to space tables apart a certain amount of distance, and because, people have to be a certain amount apart, all these different requirements,
Mhm.
we can only fit this many people.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, well, but I want all these people to join our wedding and be part of the celebration. And then it was like, okay, well, we can fit this many people, and then we can put some people in the lower floor. And it's like, well, I don't want to separate. Like, how am I supposed to decide?
I remember.
How, how am I going to decide what aunt and uncle goes down the basement versus the main floor?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And then we just decided, we're blessed to have, like, our parents have this nice property that
Mhm.
it was like, no, we never. I mean, maybe there was a discussion where Mike and I had, like, should we delay it? And we really didn't consider it that long, because it was like, no, we want to start our life together. We want to move on. What's going on in the world, we have to overcome that. And what's important is, even if we can't have exactly what we imagined my older brother and sister-in-law weren't able to come. And of course that was a hard decision. And our younger brother, just made it
in the nick of time.
in the nick of time, being able to be released to come. And so it was one of those that it was like really hard at the time.
Mhm.
Now it ended up being a beautiful day.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm glad the way that it worked out as far as where we had at our parents' property. We got married in the church, and then everyone came back to an outdoor celebration, and it was amazing, and it was beautiful. And what's always reassuring to me too, and I don't know if you remember, like during the wedding.
Oh yeah.
I
remember.
So at the end of the wedding, my dad, or our dad, of course, was able to marry us, and he was doing the final blessing. And just out of nowhere, because the church has like a tin roof, kind of out of nowhere, there was a torrential downpour. Like as our dad is saying the blessing, there was a torrential. And to me, that was like, I felt it. It was the blessing of God coming upon our marriage and being part of our marriage. Because after the blessing, by the time that we, kissed and walked out, there was not beautiful. A raindrop. Yeah, it was beautiful outside. And so like the timing, it wasn't a coincidence. And it was one of those that it was like, I truly felt all of those blessings come down upon our marriage. And that's why it's, continued to stay strong and grow.
Yeah. I remember when we walked out, the photographer was like, this is perfect, like, weather and lighting for taking photos. Because it was cloudy, but still sunny.
Yes.
And it's funny, the song, isn't it ironic? Like, rain on your wedding day? But, like, actually, like, in a blessing, it's, like,
yes, well, because it's good luck to rain on your wedding day. And but it was just the perfect time. We were all indoors. We had a little, I don't know, a couple minutes of a downpour, and then by the time we came out and for the reception, and we had someone here that was setting up the venue for us, or the land, and the storm had just, and it's not very far from the church either, and the storm had just missed where we were setting. We had all the tables and chairs set up, so there was definitely a lot of things working, and it was very reassuring. It was like we were meant to push through and get married at this time, because like you said, things were still crazy a year or two later, where if we had not, I mean, we would have been still
then you still
putting
weren't
more on hold and stuff. It wasn't. So we knew that us getting married was priority. We needed to make it happen.
Well, and if you had waited, you might not have had, your first two children.
Right, exactly. The timing.
It's all part of.
Yes, and just repeatedly, I get slapped, upside the head of like, it's not your time.
Yeah.
Just, you need to trust in God and what God wants, and, all about praying. All about always going back to prayer, because there's times when you want certain things to happen, and it's not necessarily going to happen the way you want, right?
Isn't that true? Yeah. Thank you. Now, our last segment is this rookie rock or flop. And so it's something from my own life. And we'll judge it whether it's a rock or flop. And then I just kind of want to see. So lately, with having ACL surgery at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning of the summer, I've had to set up a ton of appointments.
Uh-huh.
I'd have to talk with insurance, talk with a bunch of different providers, physical therapy, the surgery,
Mhm.
like all things. And I'm making a ton of phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a ton of phone calls. I'm having to research things, emails. You know, I'm having to really, like,
Adult.
yes, surprisingly. And I remember when I was in my college search, this was probably about junior year, I called a college that I was thinking about, and I was already kind of nervous. You know, a junior, you know, I was just not confident to
Mhm.
speak on the phone. And I remember it went to voicemail, and I was like, I'm not prepared.
Uh-huh.
So I'm calling, and I say, hi, my name is, and I just go blank after a sentence. And I just let it die out, letting it think maybe they thought I got disconnected.
Okay.
And so then I hung up, and I just started bawling my eyes, because I was like, this is like, I just made a fool of myself
Yes.
at a college that I was thinking about going to. But now that was a flop. You know, that was a flop. But now I feel like, as at least a rookie adult, I'm becoming a little more seasoned, and now making phone calls after the summer I've had. But you know, I feel like you're a getter-doner, so you never have issues with making phone calls. Like, you know how to do it.
Yeah, Mike thinks I'm ridiculous, but
Yeah.
I like talking to customer service people, you know, and I'm very nice, because I know some people probably aren't nice with them, but
yeah.
it's if I have things on my list, it's like, it needs to get done, right? So I need to make those phone calls and, you know, squeeze them in where I can during nap time, or once the kids go to bed, or things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, thank you. Yes. I
Yeah,
get it.
no, that's
I get
good.
it.
I think I'm learning to be like that, finally.
It just helps.
Yeah.
And adulting will happen, of course, and whether you want it or not. But making
Yeah.
those phone calls, the more you make, the more you make,
Yes.
the easier it becomes. And like when you realize that it's just another human being on the other side who just wants you to be nice to them. You know what I mean? Even those hard phone calls that you have to make.
Yeah.
I know you said, you know, we pray before, you prayed before this intro and stuff. Like, there are times when if I've had, with my job, if I've had to make a tough phone call or go into a meeting that I'm like, this is not going to be fun. You have to put it back to prayer, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Well, thank you for coming on. This is super exciting. You're in the first few episodes of this podcast. So this is super exciting. So thank you for taking time out of your, I know, busy day. And you'll probably go back to your fourth baby, because I think he needs you.
I hear him in the background.
Yeah. But thank you all for joining, and we'll have another fun guest next week. But thanks for stopping in, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope you laughed. You know, I hope you learned from my mistakes, and you heard about the great story from my sister Carrie. But until then, I will see y'all next week. Have a great week, and God bless. Bye.